Hi, this is Lee Thurburn again, and in this video we're going to import Turo earnings records and allocate income to vehicles. So again, when you log in, you'll typically land on the host dashboard. Go to the left side and now click on Host Tools. Go down to Earnings Import, click there. This is the page where you import your Turo earnings report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to go through a sort of a step process of 3 or 4 different steps here. I'm going to choose a file. So let me go get the file that I'm looking for. Trip earnings. Okay. I'm going to choose a file with just 3 records. This is April of 2025. This is the file I used for testing, and I'll demonstrate why here in just a second. But I'm going to load that file, and the system first basically it's called parsing, but it unpacks the records from the report that you're about to upload. Now, you can click on one of these reservations, like I'll click on this reservation number here, and that'll actually open what we call the reservation detail modal or pop-up screen. And you can scroll down and you can look at all of the detailed information about the data that was in the record. So these are the processed data fields. These are the raw data fields. And you can just see the information that's being unpacked out of the Turo earnings report and brought into the CarFleet.Tools system. So you can look at it and just verify that that information is correct. Once you've done this, go ahead and click on Import Data to Database, and the system will import the data. Now, what it's done at this point is it's added the information to the reservations database, but we have not yet created any transactions. So the next thing is to create transactions. So we'll click on the Create Transactions button, and in just a few seconds it'll come back and give you a little report. So in this case, we created 20 transactions for the 3 records, the 3 reservations, and it shows that there were no duplicates and reservation duplicates or transaction entry duplicates. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to open the accounting section, and I'm going to go to the transaction ledger, and we're going to look at the transactions that were just brought in. So we see, whoops, I moved too fast. We see 272 transactions here. Now, we'll have to scroll down and kind of look at this, but I want to show you the detail of what's being done here. So this is for this reservation. And if you want to, you can click on the reservation number and it'll launch that same reservation detail modal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back and forth. So sales tax for Elvis. Okay, so this the vehicle here is named, the nickname for the vehicle is Elvis. And what we're doing is we're recording the sales tax of $1.21. Okay, so if we go look at this reservation and we scroll down, we're going to see sales tax of $1.21. We're going to see non-refundable discounts. We're going to see trip price, tolls and tickets, and a 3-day discount. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 data fields that we use when we build the transaction. Now, the total earnings, which is a data field in the Turo earnings report, we don't use that because that is the total of these other 5 fields. And so we're going to individually take each of these data fields that have information in them, and we're going to build a transaction record for each one of these for every reservation. So since there are 5, we're basically going to have 5 transactions in the transaction ledger for this reservation. So now here's one for sales tax. Here's one for tolls and tickets for Elvis. That's 2. Here's non-refundable discount. That's 3. Here's 3-day discount, that's 4, and here's trip price, that's 5. Now, you're going to see that for some of these, we do a debit to account 4100, and for others, we do a credit. Well, the discounts and the sales tax are negative amounts, and so we reverse the entry, which is the proper accounting way to do this. And so we're using account 4100, rental income unassigned, as a clearing account when we make a deposit. So when you do your bank transactions, Turo deposits are deposited to account 4100. The RSF is the unique identifier, we call it a prefix, that just identifies the the specific account. So your account will have a unique 3-digit prefix. You'll also notice that there are suffixes. Now, the suffix is assigned based upon the vehicle. So Elvis is vehicle.003. And so what we're doing here is we're basically recording a debit because it's not revenue, so it's a discount, which is a reduction of revenue, and then we're crediting revenue. Here for the trip price, we're removing revenue from the holding account and we're putting revenue in the specific account and basically recording revenue to Elvis. So we've got those 5 transactions there. And then the next vehicle is Moby. And we have a slightly different group. We have sales tax. We're going to have them here in Texas on all of them. Not all states will record it this way. We have tolls and tickets. We have delivery, which is something we didn't have on Elvis, 3-day discount. And then we have rental income assigned. Or then we have trip price. So now the rest of these are Turo deposits, and so, well, other types of transactions. Now, you'll notice that the file that we imported was for the month of April. We only imported part of the February banking file, so you can see that for this, we made a deposit. This is a deposit from Turo. We put $545 into the bank, and we recorded $545 into the holding account, 4100. So when we make these entries to 4100, we're basically, these entries here, we're removing it from that 4100 holding account, and we're putting the revenue into the vehicle specific revenue account, so that we know exactly what kind of revenue and what vehicle. So that's sort of the mechanism, the algorithm that we follow from an accounting perspective to be able to get everything right. So we just imported three transactions or 3 reservations, and so you may be thinking, well, where's the other one? Well, the other one is not going to have any data, because if we go look at reservations, now we're going to look at our reservations, and you'll see 2 reservations have revenue and 1 did not. So this is a reservation that was booked and then canceled, so there was no revenue deposited. Turo didn't earn any revenue. We didn't earn any revenue. And so we record the reservation even though there's no revenue associated with it. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to earnings import, and we're going to import a slightly larger file. This is going to be a file from April with 10 records. Now I want to show this to you because these 10 records include the same other 3 records. And so you can see now that we have 6 vehicles instead of 3. And this is a preview of the parsed data. I'm going to go ahead and click Import Data and give it a moment to import the 10 records. And what it's going to do is it's going to check for duplicates. And so the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to be comfortable and understand that if you import reservations, you don't have to worry about basically not overlapping. So you can import overlaps. You can import new Turo earnings reports and have the same date range as previous earnings reports, and it'll check for duplicates. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Create Accounting Transactions, and it's going to, here in just a moment, give us that success modal, and I want to show you that it finds the duplicates. So let's give it just a moment to finish the process. And here you go. It said transaction entry duplicates skipped are 10. So there's 10 transactions that it found as duplicates. It added 3 new vehicles. It added 3 reservations, and it skipped 3 duplicates. 3 duplicates were skipped. So I just show you this because I want, again, for you to understand and to have comfort with the fact that the system will not book duplicate entries. We were very careful about that. Now I'm going to just go ahead and do the same thing again. I'm going to click on Choose File, and this time we're going to do the entire month of April. And so I think there's 24 reservations, I believe, in this. Yeah, 24 reservations. And so I'm going to go ahead and click Import Data into Database, and again, it takes just a second to do that. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Accounting Transactions, and this will take a moment longer than it did the first time because it's got to go through and compare those 24 with everything that exists already in the system to see if there's any duplicates. So there's a little bit of back office or back end work being done right now to compare the new records with the old records and see if there's duplicates. And sure enough, it didn't add any new vehicles, but it did add 14 new reservations. So there's 24 here. There was 10. 14 added to 10, of course, is 24. It skipped the duplicate reservations, the other 10, and then it created 106 transactions. Now, so I just clicked on the income statement link under accounting, and of course that takes us to the income statement page. And I want to show you just a couple of things. There's going to be a more detailed video about the income statement because it's a very powerful analytical tool, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of things. So the typical date range is going to be the end of the previous year to the current date, which will cover everything. I have already uploaded expenses, which are from the banking import that I did on a different video. That is for the months of January and part of February. So you'll see under cost of goods sold, you'll see a lot of expenses there. We just did a Turo earnings import for the month of April, and I want to show you a couple of things. So first of all, if I click on like 4,100 rental income for the month of April, it's going to take us to a page where all of the entries to that account, and there's 92 of them, but all of the entries to this account are going to be shown. Well, there's a lot of entries, and the reason is because we had 24 reservations, but we had a lot of individual items. So for example, in this reservation, 435 020 or 02839, we had a trip price, we had a 3-day discount, we had an excess distance and a tolls and tickets and a sales tax. We had 5 specific reservations, or not reservations, but earnings for that one reservation. They don't all have 5. Sometimes they'll have 2 or 3, sometimes they'll have 6 or 7, probably on average about roughly 5, but it does vary. Anyway, each of these is a separate entry, and so if you want to drill down and look at your Turo earnings, you can actually change your profile to the granular level, and that'll actually break down for the month of April every individual. So you have trip price, trip price, trip price, trip price for different cars here. And so if we go across, we see the dollar amounts. They only show up in that month. If I click on, say, the trip price for Elvis, you'll see, I'm not sure what you'll see, but let's see here, we have 3 entries. So Elvis had 3 different trips that it earned different amounts for, and you can look at the detail here, and that's how you can drill down on any individual thing. So if I wanted to look at all of the, let me go back to granular level, and if I wanted to come down and say, look at all my 3-day discounts. I could look at them on individual vehicles, but you can see the 3-day discounts all recorded here. So you can drill down to any level of detail that you want by just simply using the income statement as a tool, and and clicking on links to drill down to look at the individual ledger accounts. It's a great tool for being able to understand more about where your money is going, which is, of course, one of the purposes of using the CarFleet.Tools accounting system, so that you can answer, where did my money go? So that's it for the income statement portion. We will have a longer, more detailed video about the income statement in a separate video. Thanks for watching.